Hey y'all, I'm back. I have noticed that a couple of people have already purchased this coloring page. I think two or three, in fact. So I thought, well, I really need to get back in here and get on this. So I seem to have a shadow cast. Let me see what I can do to get rid of that shadow for y'all. How's that? Is that all right? Okay. So, if you've missed anything, please go back and look at the first parts. I think we're on part 5. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're on 5. I think that's right. Anyway, regardless, we're going to go right back in with our colors. You should have the colors still written down. The dark blue that I'm using is the Prismacolor 901. Then we move to the ultramarine, which is 902. Then we're going to the Caribbean Sea, 1103. Every now and then we'll pick up the 1024. And then we've got white here because we're going to use that some. But let's just start at the bottom and work our way up. See how much of this we can get done. Now recall we did these and said that they were darker and kind of crumbly looking because they're down at the bottom. Okay, they're the part that's already been wasted away because they start blooming at the bottom and work their way up. So that by the time the top's all in full bloom, that bottom is starting to deteriorate. And that's part of the reason for some of this spottage that you're going to find in this set that we're doing. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. We are going to just work on each section. See that white line? We want to try to keep that still white. So let's take this indigo blue, put it up through here. Again, if you need the colors in another range of pencils instead of these, I encourage you to check out my Etsy shop where I have conversion charts, and it's comparing several different brands, the colors to those of the Prisma. Now, not every color has, in fact, there's a lot of colors that don't cross over, but there's quite a few that do. And I tried to pick a few that do, just to make it a little easier on y'all in case you're using the Marco Raffines or the Marco Renoirs or whatever. I don't want it to be really hard on you. I want you to enjoy doing this. So now you see I'm coming in and I'm just going at the darkest areas of this one little part of the flower. I don't know if you'd actually call it a petal or what, because they're actually, each one is an individual bloom when you're doing bluebonnets. Okay, so now I'm going down to the next one. This is that 902, and we're really just working through methodically, just like what we've been doing, section at a time, doing the darker areas. And you've seen me start with dark colors. You've seen me start with light colors. And I told you in the beginning that there's not going to be a great rhyme or reason as to which color I do when. Okay, you can go dark to light, light to dark, whatever floats your boat. That comes around there. Now I want to keep kind of a crisp edge on this and keep that line open. And if you're coloring along, you know what line I'm talking about because it's on your page. Okay, let's go ahead and do this in. And then we're going to come on up this side. Some of this is a little bit lighter, just like this was. And this is actually going to be our putty color again. In fact, let's putty it right now. Remember that putty beige that we've been using? Let's get that in there. And it's just an age spot on the bloom. Okay? So just stay out of that now. Color around it. I know you can do it. You've done so good so far. For you that are members on Coloring Books Keep It Clean, when you do color alongs, I really do wish that you would post them on there. I love to see what people have done with my Etsy coloring pages. Okay, now we're going to go down to the lighter one. This is that 1103, and remember those areas that I said was a little lighter? That's where we're going to put this at. I'm going to go back in here, lighten some of that up, and it's all going to blend out in a little bit. Not to worry. That right there is lighter. Right in there and a little bit there. Okay, and go back to this one. Really just start blending this in. And this is where you'll see me take on the circles, because I just find it easier to really blend well with the circles. This is at the bottom of the flower, so this is actually going to be a little bit darker than the ones that are up at the top. Okay. Going around that putty beige area that we did. Just really trying to get rid of all that back color of that background. Remember, it had the grayscale on it, but you can still see just the paper showing through. So that's why we come through and put so many layers of color on here. Okay, and I can come back in, brighten this up just a little bit. It is closer to the bottom, but we don't want it to all look solidly dark. And you'll find at this point the colors are blending fairly well if you're using the Prismacolors, just because we have so much color on the page. That's another reason I don't use blender sticks or stumps. I like to use the pencil themselves to blend, because it adds more color to the page. Now, where I left that line, the line on the top is actually black, not black, it's this indigo. So I'm going to stand up on the tip and go ahead and color that one in. Okay, the one on the bottom is actually, it's not quite white, so we're going to put that in this putty color. All right, and go over this again. And I think that finishes that one. You know, you can always come in and put a few wear streaks, just where there's a little bit of wear and tear on the flower. There's a few of those on the original, is why I say that. Just because it is down here on the bottom, and it is getting older. Okay, let's jump over to this side, and let's do just some area in here. So let's start with the dark, and let's do these really dark parts. Okay, let's get those really cut in there. And see, there's some light, and then it gets dark again. There's dark here. There's some light in here, but then it's dark down in here. And all those lights and darks, that's what's going to make your picture. Now this is part of the stem, so just leave that alone. Let's go ahead and work on this one just a little bit. Yeah, it's having these darks in here that really make this look more dimensional. I'm not going to go up any further. I think doing those little sections right there is going to be enough. Let's change to this blue. And we're going to pretty well do all over, but you'll see it heavier here, lighter in the middle. And then we'll go heavy again on this side. Several layers is good, but that's allowing me to be able to put that other blue in there. Okay, and then this right in here, I'm just going to fill in with the lighter blue. Then this area, the lighter area is right in here. So this will be the lighter, and then as I come out around, it'll be a little darker. And that right there, it comes right up next to it. Okay, and then that white spot, that's actually a reflection that's popping back up. So that whole thing right there is going to stay that white color. We may actually use putty again on that. That putty beige. That seems to be working well for us. Just get it to a good point and go down through there. Okay, so getting this color in. And see, we've left that lighter and that lighter. Let's just go ahead and grab our lighter and keep going with it. These two pieces are going well. Okay, same thing here. Get that light in there. Then come back with the medium blue again. And just really start blending that so we don't have any great lines. Can't believe it's snowing in the Northeast, and I'm here in Texas and we're in the 70s and 80s. Weather is so messed up. Okay, now I'm going to take the good point, and remember where I said the light was reflecting? So we're just going to go ahead and draw this line in and bring it around a little bit. Okay, so that took care of that. Actually, right there is also reflecting. And then this bottom part of this little circle is the lighter blue. So I'm putting in my deep blue, then I'm going to come back with the light because we did mix two colors together to get our one color. Okay, so just doing that till it blends, but it's a total different shade then than what these are, and that's what we want, so that's good. So for you that are happening to use other colors and mix, just work with it until you get something that's going to look close to what your printout is. Because remember, I said when you purchase this time, I'm including the color copy. And if anybody's not purchased in the past because you're not getting the color copy, shoot me out a message or a comment or something that you're all in if I decide to start including those color copies. And sure enough, I'll go back in and add them. I'll make those part of it. Now, on my drawings, that's kind of hard to do because they're hand-drawn. But on anything that's a photograph, you know, I can include that original photo if it's going to help you feel more at ease on doing this. Okay, there's that one. See, that was really easy. Then back here, this little piece has light right there. And this one's actually a different petal, so let's just keep working with this one. It's actually darker right up through here, and then gets lighter as it comes down and around. But we're going to go over that lightly. Okay, so it just, all these lights and darks help to make the petals or the little buds, blooms, blossoms, whatever you want to call it, helps them all to look a little more rounded. So that's our purpose for making sure that we get all these in there with the right light and reflection and stuff going on. Okay, this is going to have some lighter on it, and then we'll come back again, but I'm going to come in with my indigo and do some more of this dark right up in here. Okay, and then a lot of this is reflective, but I can take this pinkish and actually bring it down a little bit so that it's actually anchored down in there. Okay, so like we said earlier, when you see areas that you've missed, just like what I've been doing, just come in and put them back in. All right, let's go to the light one next. Again, this is 1103 if you're using your Prismacolors. If you're not, you look and see what your equivalent is. You should have it written down. I figure by the time we've done this many videos, you should be pretty up on what you're doing. Okay, now this one on the bottom, see how much darker it is than this one? Part of the reason for that, this one is further down, this one's further up, so this one's already had a lot more, it's going to be taller yet, but this has got to die out, where this one's already had those die out. So that's why you're not seeing as much dark on that one. Okay? And this is standing up taller, so it's getting more reflective light around it, where this one's closer to the ground, so you're just not able to see it as clearly. All right? I hope that helps you to understand what's going on there. Let's just come over and get this little section here. So let's do the dark one. Let's go in here and do everything that's really dark. This is indigo. I know it looks like black. Don't make the mistake of grabbing your black, because this does have some blue hints to it. It's almost like a blackish blue, but if you use black, you're going to lose that. So don't grab black and think, oh, it's the closest thing I've got. If you don't have an indigo blue or a blackish blue, grab your darkest blue and try it on a piece of scratch paper and see how it looks if you use a touch of purple with it, or even some red, but I would think purple would be my first shot at trying. Okay, because you do want to layer it darker, and if you did my study on what colors to add to get them darker, you know to get a darker blue to add red. But after you add so much of it, you're going to go to the dark side and end up with purple. So be careful how much you add. You know, yeah, you could do black, but just be very careful adding black over the top of your blue. Don't just start with black. Okay, start with your blue first, and then keep a very light touch. And see, like I had a point there and I wanted it rounded, so I just came on out of the line a little bit and got it rounded. And that way it's manipulating it to make it do what I want it to do. Okay, and there is a white line there. There's actually not one on my photo, so I'm just going to come over here and pick up my red and fill that in. And then I'm going to use the white to knock that back a little so it doesn't look quite so red in there. There we go. Okay, so now let's go to our light blue, And let's look and see. We have more light in here, and that line is going to stay white. We have a light area right here that makes it look like it's puffed out, and then it gets darker as it goes around. So this area right here is going to be lighter in a minute, but we can still go ahead and add darker of this blue around that area. Okay, and that should help that to look like it's raised or bowed out. In fact, let's go ahead and do that while we're talking about it. We'll do this one just a little. We're going to do this one quite a bit. This is another reason I don't like good points on all my pencils. If I decide I want to take after this and really get it on there, I couldn't have done that. That hard of a push if I'd have had a big old point on there. But because it wasn't pointed, I was able to go ahead and put some pressure on it. And let's face it, we all get in a hurry sometimes and put more pressure on our pencils than we should. We need to make up a Be Kind to Your Colored Pencil Day. They're only going to last as long as you take care of them. It's like I tell my students that come in and paint with me on Mondays. Tell them, you know, wash your brushes out good, take care of them. I'd rather you be able to buy new surfaces and be able to come to more classes than to spend your time on new brushes because you didn't bother to take care of them. So, and I just want this a little bit brighter still. So I'm just coming in. Bigger circles around the outside so it blends in. Now see, it looks kind of raised right there. It looks like it kind of recedes and goes around. Now instead of using a sharp white, I'm going to come in with this putty again, putty beige. I'm really liking this color. I had not really used it much before. Alright, so then next, let's do this one down here. This one is quite a bit lighter. It's actually duller, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to do it with the light color first. Then I'm going to come in with this blue and get all this in. And then if I needed to, I could still come in and go over it again with that putty beige. Because it's just one of those petals that is further down to the bottom and really just getting worn out. Okay, that's medium. Then we're going to go to the indigo and just pull that little piece right there. And then I am going to grab this putty beige and do just there. Yeah, I do like that. So see, I'm having to do a light touch because I have such a nice point on this. And then I'm going to roll this sideways so that I keep a point on the other part. But this is knocking this back to just being really more dull and aged. See how it's not near as bright as these over here? Okay, so that's the reason for that. Okay, now as we keep coming on up, what time is it? I always lose track of the time. We're at 24 minutes, so let's keep working. So this is actually going to have a little more brightness to it, so I'm going to pick up that crimson and pull some of the red in from this side and then get lighter as I come over. Okay, darker here, and then just let it fade out as it comes over. And that should be all right now. A little bit of this putty in there. There we go. All right, that's good. Now our blue again. We've already put in those darks just a few minutes ago, but now beware of those lines. Those lines that are in there, keep them in there. That's the light hitting it again. So you may have to sharpen your pencils a little bit at this point. Okay, and right in the center of this is where that light is again. So come back to your lightest that we were using, the 1103. Put that in. And come back with this one and blend. Just blend all that in. And then a light touch as you come to the middle. Okay? Still see a lot of paper shining through right there. Okay, now all those little lines, some of those lines are actually blue. So I think what I'm going to do is use this blue to put those in. Yeah, that looks more like what my photo looks like. And this one has some blue. Maybe not quite that much, but I think it looks okay. In fact, I'm actually going to put a little bit on there too. It's just where everything comes together, and I don't want it to be too white. I want it to have that natural blue in there a little bit. Okay? So, what do you think? Keep going? You got it. Yeah, we're doing good. Let's go to the dark. Pull these dark lines. You can see this dark line that travels through there. These. There's some here. There's some over here. And leave those white areas. That's where it's looking spent. And this dark is actually on this piece because that piece is over the top, so it's casting just a little shadow on there. Okay, don't get carried away with that shadow. We don't have to blend it really well like we do when we're doing some of our pages, because it's not, we're going more realistic this time. And a lot of times the shadow, like see my hand right here, and the shadow is leaving a line just right there. Well, a lot of times we'll blend that out when we're doing a coloring page, but this is more of a realistic coloring page, so we don't have to worry about that big long blend. Okay, and there's that line right up there, so we're going to go around it. I am just really excited for whoever it is that already bought this and is coloring along. I hope you've stuck with me, whoever you are, because I think this is really going to be awesome when we finish. I love the pages that you do, and the pieces look dimensional, like they're just going to jump off the page at you. Like you could reach down and pick that flower right up. Okay, now we've done that dark on around, but now we're going to add some of that light. Okay, there's light right here because it's kind of bubbled up a little bit right there. And that blended. That's good. I've got a little bit down this side. All right, then over here on this side, this whole area is lighter. Let's see if it blends good or if I'm going to have to come back in. Sometimes, some reason, you just get just enough of that first color on that when you put the second color on, it blends and it's all good and you don't have to do anything. Sometimes you have to come back and really work at it. It just varies. So you're going to have to be the judge of what you need on yours. See, like I know I need a little bit right there because there is a little bit of dark going around that. Okay, it's just the way the Bluebonnets are. Okay, okay, we're close to the 30, so I'm going to stop, go get me a good glass of water, get a drink, walk around a little bit, and I'll come back and we'll work on some more of these. I'd love to get this flower knocked out tonight so that tomorrow we can work on the leaves. So I'll be back in a bit.